Have you ever been working through a struggle or trying to heal from a deeply painful experience and everyone around you just kept trying to give you advice when what you really wanted from them was just a little bit of company, a calming presence, and a closed mouth? Most of us have been on both sides of that fence at one time or another. But the skill needed at times like these is what's referred to as holding space. And if you want to learn how to support your loved ones in the best possible way, or how to ask for space in a way that gets you the support you need, join me on today's Life Design podcast for our Mental Health Mondays episode, where we'll get clear on what it truly means to hold space for someone, on how to do it in a way that supports others, and how to ask for this type of support when it's what you need. I look forward to seeing you there. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe now so you can join us on every episode. We truly appreciate it. And be sure to engage in the comments section of your favorite platform for your chance to be invited as a guest on one of our episodes. Hello, you amazing humans. Welcome back to the Life Design podcast and our Mental Health Mondays series, where you get your weekly dose of insights and strategies for navigating the complex world of mental health and mental and emotional well-being. I'm your host, Michael Borland, and today's episode is all about what's referred to as holding space. And by that, I mean holding space for someone who is going through hard times or who's working through a healing process. And maybe that's yourself. Either way, that's what we're going to be covering today. So you might have heard the quote, "I don't need you to fix me. I need you to love me and hold space for me while I heal myself." And though that original author is unknown to me, anyway, this powerful statement, it encapsulates really a profound truth about supporting people going through mental health challenges at any level. Now, let me digress. When I say any level, I mean those who are functional in the world, but it could be a very minor temporary thing, or it could be something, really, really heavy, really powerful, like the loss of a loved one. So regardless of how mild it may be, holding space for someone is more often than not one of the best ways we can support them. So I want to cover that today with you. And in this episode, we're going to explore really what it means to hold space, for someone else, or to have someone hold space for you. Maybe you don't even realize that's what you need because you've never understood it this way. So we're going to help out with that. We're also going to look at why it's essential and how both the individual struggling as well as, the loved one or the friend or the support can benefit from using this approach. So whether you're navigating your own, mental health journey, quite frankly, we all are, or whether you're supporting someone that you care about, stay tuned, stay focused and engaged as we delve into some practical tips and some expert insights that can foster an understanding and a compassion, and actually, foster some healing as well. So let's dive into that. I want to start by getting some clarity on a few of the basic factors that are related to this subject. So first of all, what does it actually mean to hold space for someone? Well, holding space is an act of being fully present, being emotionally available for someone without judgment or without the need to fix them. It's about creating a safe space and a supportive environment where individuals feel free to express themselves and to do it authentically. But beyond a general definition of what holding space means, why is it essential? in mental health support? What truly makes holding space for someone a key determining factor on the progress they make? Well, holding space acknowledges that everyone's journey through dealing with mental health is unique, and that healing itself is a deeply personal process. Does that mean that people don't use a lot of the same techniques? They don't react the same ways? Of course, sometimes that's the case. But rather than imposing solutions or trying to fix someone's problems, holding space honors that person's autonomy. It empowers them to explore their own emotions and to experience those things at their own pace. Before we really start digging into the meat and potatoes of holding space, let's dispel some myths and some misconceptions about supporting loved ones with their mental health challenges or struggles, we'll say. Again, regardless of the level, regardless of the intensity or even the duration. So myth number one that I hear all the time is we tend to believe, I need to have all the answers to help my loved one or, my friend or whomever it is. When the reality is supporting someone's mental health does not require having all the answers. More often than not, that is not the case. It's often just being there to listen and to offer empathy. Okay, those two things alone can make a world of difference. And I want to point this out. Notice I said empathy. I did not say sympathy, and I did not even say compassion. And if you want a 45-second explanation of the difference, here it is. Actually, straight from Google. Let's use their version because it makes sense and it's simple. Sympathy means you can understand what a person is feeling. Empathy means you feel what a person is feeling. And compassion is having a willingness or even a desire to relieve the suffering of that person. But let me add my own version of this perspective, okay, of someone who's struggling. So what do I mean by that? I'm the one struggling, as an example, and you try to offer me sympathy. My response, you don't understand. You may have experienced something similar, but you're not me. So don't tell me you understand what I'm feeling, because 9 times out of 10, you don't. I'm going to do compassion next. So for compassion, my response is, I know you're willing to help me, and I know you want to help me, and you're all going to recognize this, but just stop. How many times have we heard that? Just stop. Okay? You can't take this from me. And if we could really get these people to speak, if I could really share it from the perspective of the person that's struggling and you're trying to be sympathetic to me, my response would be, I need this lesson. I need the lesson of going through the process. Don't try to take that away from me. I need that. Okay. And at least this should be someone's perspective when an individual tries to be too compassionate with them. I think I said sympathy a minute ago. Compassionate. Okay. You're trying to take this process away from me. That's not going to help. I need this lesson. I need this strength so that the next time I go through something, I've got some resilience built up. Here's empathy. You show me empathy. What what do I feel from that? What does my mind go from that if I understand the process? Like we're trying to help you understand the process. If you show me empathy, what do I feel? I'm not alone. Okay. I don't want you to feel what I'm feeling, but I'm grateful that I don't have to be here alone in this place that I'm at right now, this headspace, this heart space. That's the difference. That's why we want to focus on empathy. I don't want you to feel the pain that I'm feeling, but the fact that you're hurting just because I'm hurting, that was funny. I really pronounced the T, didn't I? The fact that you're hurting just because I'm hurting makes me know I'm not alone. You're not giving me advice. You're not trying to take it away from me. I need that lesson. But I don't want to go through it alone, even if I can't express that to you. That's what's going on inside me. That's why empathy is the important one, the proper one in the situation. Okay, on to myth number 2. And that is our all too common belief. If I can't fix them, I'm failing them as a friend or as a loved one. That is so wrong. The reality is that healing is a journey. It's not a destination. Okay? Your role as the supporter is just that. It's to provide support, not to solve their problem. Holding space means embracing the uncertainty of the process, of the emotions that they're going to go through. Trusting in that individual's capacity to navigate their own path, to find their own healing, but being there so they're not alone. By understanding the true essence of holding space, we create a deeper connection. We cultivate an environment where their healing can really happen. It can flourish. This is what I love so much about coaching and therapy, because it's not about trying to fix someone. It's about supporting them as they go through their own process. It's about helping them recognize the steps and their thoughts, their feelings, their actions, so that they can make sense of it all. And they can learn to be stronger for life's next challenge, and maybe even strong enough to, we'll say, properly support someone else. So what if I'm the one struggling? Let's explore some practical tips for supporting ourselves when we're the one struggling through a challenge, a mental health challenge. Again, might be something simple like, being frustrated at work or in a relationship. It might be extreme frustration in a relationship, the loss of a loved one, what we call level 10 events, the loss of a job, a loved one, a divorce, a upcoming marriage, a new relationship. These are all things that create massive stress in most people, and they fall into the realm of mental health challenges. Anything that creates high levels of stress and anxiety falls into that realm. We may not look at it that way, but that is the process we go through. It is a mental health and an emotional, health and wellness situation and challenge, particularly if we don't handle it right. So let's look at tip number 1. Number 1 is something we hear often, and it's practicing self-compassion. Okay? Acknowledging that it's okay to not be okay, for a while anyway. during the experience, during the process. It's treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend who is in that situation. It's learning to cultivate self-compassion through our thoughts, okay, through our actions. Or let me say it this way, cultivating self-compassionate thoughts and actions. Maybe that helps you understand it better, meaning be kind to yourself. Recognize that your worth is not defined by the struggles you go through. And though a lot of people will feel they are less worthy, if anything, it increases your worth to go through and make it past struggles, because it makes you more capable of doing so. Tip number 2 is to learn to identify and express your needs, meaning communicate openly, communicate honestly and authentically with trusted friends or family members or a mental health professional, a coach, a mentor, and to communicate about what you're experiencing and what support you need. Doesn't even mean you're asking for that support from them, but you're expressing it to get it out there because maybe they know someone that can support you in that way, or some way for you to support yourself in that way. Remember that asking for help is a sign of strength, not a weakness. And you know that when people come and ask you for help, when they're going through this type of a challenge. I don't mean the people that take advantage of it, because we all have some of those. They're coming and asking for money all the time, or can you do this for me or that for me? That's not what we're talking about. And I think you know that. We're talking about someone who's seriously going through a challenge. And when you find out, your thoughts are, why in the world didn't you come tell me? Why didn't you come talk to me and ask me for help with this? Because it took them a while to build up that strength. Maybe they hadn't gotten there yet, to build up that courage. Okay. That is what we mean when we say asking for help is a sign of strength, not a weakness. So tip number 3 is to truly prioritize that self-care and those self-care practices, meaning engaging in activities that actually nourish our mind and our bodies and our soul, that strengthen our emotions, raise them up. Whether it's practicing mindfulness, maybe it's engaging in, some physical exercise, or indulging into some hobbies that we enjoy, even if we don't feel like doing them. Make self-care non-negotiable. Okay, make it a non-negotiable part of your routine. Make it who you are. I'm guilty of this. My morning workouts, I've been slacking a little, super busy. I've committed again to just making that non-negotiable. Everything else is going to need to wait, because I need that health and energy to be able to serve others at the top of my game. And that means I need to commit to that self-care. So tip number 4 was seeking, I will say it this way, seeking professional support when you know that it's needed, maybe even when you're feeling it's not. Be that therapy, and counseling, because those can provide invaluable support and guidance on a journey toward healing. Again, it could be a mentor, it could be a coach, it could be a variety, but I specifically am pointing out professional support. Okay? Do not hesitate to reach out to a licensed therapist or mental health professional. Notice I said mental health professional. You can go through your doctor if you need to find someone, but I'm specifically speaking of mental health professional who can offer you personalized strategies, interventions and support. Remember this one too. Healing, again, is a process, not a destination. And it's okay to take it one step at a time. It's best to take it one step at a time. So by prioritizing our self-compassion, our self-care, by expressing our needs, practicing that self-care and seeking that support, it helps us to navigate our mental health journey. Okay? And to do it with a greater level of focus, of resilience, and it gets us there quicker, but it builds more strength in doing so. So let's shift our focus and get some clear tips on holding space and supporting others, loved ones, friends, family, and such that may be struggling with some form of mental health challenge, mental and emotional health. Tip number one on this would be practicing active listening. So, what do I mean by active listening? Okay, number one, create a safe space, okay, a non-judgmental space where your loved ones can express themselves openly, regardless of what they need to say. Listen to it attentively without interrupting, okay, without offering unsolicited advice, and just reflect back to them what you hear so that you're both sure, that the understanding and the validation of their experience is expressed to them. So they know they're heard. So they know they're understood at some level. Again, not offering advice, just saying, okay, this is what I'm understanding that you're going through. Tip number two is showing validation and empathy. Okay. We want to seek to understand what they're going through, their emotions, their experiences, their perspectives, and we want to be empathetic to that. We want to try to feel what they're feeling. We do feel pain when someone we love is going through pain. We can share in that pain. We can't take it away, but we want to validate it. We want to validate that their feelings are okay for them to feel and that we're there for them unconditionally. Now, I want to pause and I want to point this out. We hear this all the time now, and it's a trigger for a lot of people. Feelings don't necessarily make them facts. There's two ways to look at it. It is a fact that they feel this way. Their feelings and their perspectives may not be factual reality. It's still their experience. And a lot of people's experience in today's day and age, in our world today, 2024, they're creating some realities that are just out there. They are not the reality for the majority of other people, but in their own minds, they feel it's reality. We can still empathize with that. We can still have an empathy and a compassion for it. But we're talking about holding space here. We're talking about allowing them to express it without judgment. I admit, even after all my years of doing this, I struggle with that with some people in today's day and age, because people are now believing that my feelings need to be your reality. Well, here's the reality. If you have someone that you're trying to help through a situation and they are forcing you to agree with their reality, you might need to step back and say, I'm not the one to support you in this, because though I understand, I get it, that this is your reality, it's not mine. And there's nothing wrong with that either. That is setting a boundary. That is not encouraging, or what is the word that I am looking for again? You're not enabling them by agreeing with something that is an emotion or a feeling or a challenge that they're going through that is not your own reality. So do not be afraid to set your own boundaries. And that actually leads me to tip number 3. Okay, so remember, 2 is empathizing with their struggle and reassuring them that they're not alone. But tip 3 is setting that healthy boundary. And while it is important to offer support, it's equally essential to maintain boundaries and to protect your own well-being, and to not allow what they may be pushing on you as they go through their own struggle, and try to make you accept it as your own reality. So be clear about what you can and cannot offer in terms of support. And don't hesitate yourself to seek, help and support from others in setting those limits when needed. Even if you're the one trying to support someone else, you may need third-party support in doing so. That is not uncommon, and it's actually becoming more and more common with everything that's going on and that's being promoted in today's day and age. And by that, I mean all around. I am not picking on or honing in on one particular point of view. All around, people are passionate about their beliefs and perspectives, myself included. So set those boundaries, but set them from a perspective of empathy, of saying, I know this is what you're going through. I get it. And I feel for you. I hurt because you hurt, and I care about you. But this happens to be an area where we don't agree, and maybe I'm not the best one to be your primary source of support. I support you in going through this. And the best way I can support you is to help you find someone that sees this aspect of life, this struggle, the same way you do. And let them be the primary source. And even though I'm used to being someone that you turn to first, in this case, I'm willing to step back. I'm willing to let go of the reins a little bit and allow you to find the support that will really allow you to heal through this process. I hope that makes sense. And then tip number 4 really boils down to encouraging autonomy and empowerment to that individual. Okay, we want to empower that loved one of ours, that friend, that coworker, whomever it is, to make their own choices and decisions regarding their journey, their mental health journey, their self-healing journey. We want to be there to guide them. We want to be a resource, but ultimately we want to respect their autonomy and their agency, meaning their ability in determining what's best for themselves. So when we pause and we practice active listening, we practice empathy and setting healthy boundaries, and then encouraging them and their autonomy in the situation, we create a supportive environment that helps to foster their healing. And let me pause for a minute, because you may be wondering, like, where are these tips coming from, Michael? So I want to take a look for a second at some perspectives of some of the leading experts in the field. And you may be familiar with a couple of these names, but Dr. Brene Brown, right? She's a renowned researcher and author that specializes in things like, vulnerability, courage, and empathy. And in her work, she emphasizes the importance of both vulnerability, if I can get my mouth to work with my brain today. Um, she focuses on vulnerability and on empathy and fostering that genuine connection so that we can support others, through their difficult times and be able to support ourselves as well. So, according to Brene, she looks at holding space as meaning, creating a supportive environment where people feel seen, where they feel heard and valued without being judged. And this involves the creation of, or the cultivation of, empathy, of active listening, of, acknowledging and validating a person's experience. Again, without judging or trying to give advice. And she definitely highlights the role of setting, uh, the proper boundaries to holding space effectively for someone. Because setting those boundaries, clear boundaries that both understand, it helps protect the individual who's struggling, and it helps protect the individual who's trying to support them through that. And it helps to ensure that, the relationships themselves remain healthy and sustainable, because going through challenges with someone can definitely cause separation. Another recognized expert in the field is Dr. Kristen Neff. She's a leading expert in self-compassion. Her her primary focus emphasizes the importance of treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, especially during challenging times. And she, her research itself, it highlights that self compassion, it involves recognizing our own suffering with a level of warmth, a level of acceptance, rather than being critical or judgmental about ourselves. By practicing this level of self compassion, we can cultivate resilience in ourselves. Okay, we can support our own emotional well being, and these are essential components when we look at the self care that's required for a strong mental health, within ourselves. And again, once we learn to help ourselves, that gives us a level of experience to help others. There's another Dr. Carl Rogers. He was another pioneering figure in the areas of humanistic psychology. Okay, he passed away back in, it was 1987, but his work, it emphasized the significance of empathy, of unconditional, positive regard in therapeutic relationships. So when he looked at it in his research, he looked at, or he shared that holding space, it involves creating an environment of what I'll refer to as genuine acceptance, okay, genuine empathy, not just faking it because we're trying to help someone, but truly trying to accept and understand that individual's, experience, okay, and to show them value, validate them, and support them in that way. Now, these are just three of the top researchers, from the last 50 years. And as you can see, their insights on vulnerability, on empathy, and on, setting proper boundaries. They literally show a comprehensive framework, and a true understanding for what it means to hold space and to support both our own and others' mental and emotional health. So, that in mind, what are some actionable steps and takeaways that can empower us on our own journey and on the journey of, or on the task of supporting others. Well, first, it's important to remember that self-compassion, okay, regardless of which side of the situation you're on. Treating ourselves with kindness and with understanding and not judging, and acknowledging again that it's okay to not be okay. That's key. Okay, secondly, don't hesitate to express our needs. Hear what I just said. I didn't say express your experience, though that's clearly important. It's important to express our needs, to communicate it openly and honestly with the people that we're sharing these experiences with, and to encourage them to do the same. Remember, it's okay. It's not only okay, it's imperative to prioritize your needs as well as anyone else's. Even if you're the one that's trying to support someone else. So respect their choices. Provide resources, that will help them support their growth and healing, but do it for yourself. By implementing these actions in this way, taking these steps and embracing these principles and just loving and holding space for yourself and someone else, it allows us to foster such a deeper connection, and to be able to support ourselves and others in mental and emotional health, and to help get through challenges. So I hope that you truly take all that to heart, and that you practice implementing those things in your life, because it truly does, it makes such a profound difference when we do that, regardless of the intensity of the situation. As always, thank you for joining me on today's episode. Your honestly, your commitment to prioritizing your mental health, your emotional well-being, I commend that. And I assure you, it will pay dividends for the rest of your life, yours and those that you try to help. Remember, you're not alone in the journey. Together, we can create a world for ourselves where love and compassion and empathy thrive, where we can support each other, regardless of the steps we need to take through that, through our mental health journeys. So if you found this episode helpful, please like, share, subscribe, follow, again, whatever it is on your platform. But be sure to engage with us. Be sure to reach out to me. Share the video with someone else who can use that extra support. Help them out throughout their journey by doing that. And then come back and join us on Wednesdays for the Life Design Coaching Series. Until then, as always, live awesome and enjoy your journey.